Yeah, Kahala no Ihaba Shemi Shaba Shirakakudash and double on Instagram and Apostles. This is the part two, the continuation from the previous video that I made, pertaining to we have to really just going through our own afflictions and thorns and trials. So yeah, that's what I named it. So let me actually get the title. We take up our trials as we should. So this is the part two of that video. And I was reading into First Peter chapter 4 verse 12 to 15, and I was talking about the fact that the servant is not greater than the master, and then I'll get that precept right now. This is Matthew 10 verse 25. It is enough for the disciple that he be as his master, and the servant as his lord. If they have called the master of the house Beelzebub, how much more shall they call them of his household? So of course, you know, if they call Yahushua Beelzebub, they're telling him that, you know, he's a demon, you know, demonized, just like the way the apostles are also getting demonized by ignorant Israelites as well, and also the brothers as well, you know, getting called names and whatnot. The same way is because the fact that they called the master Yahushua the demon man. So obviously we're not going to fall short of that. We're still going to be insulted too. So that's really the point of that precept. That of course we're going to get names that are going to pertain unto us, like insults really. So let me go back to First Peter 4. First Peter 4. First Peter 4 verse 12. But really, I think I'll finish verse 14, so yeah, I'll get to 15. So it says, First Peter 4 verse 15, but let none of you suffer as a murderer, or as a thief, or as an evildoer, or as a busybody in other men's matters. So of course, these are wrong things of which one can suffer through, potentially. We're not supposed to suffer through for, which is just suffering vainly, isn't it? That's really the point of those things. To suffer as a murderer, you know, then you have to go to prison. As a thief, you know, you're gonna have to deal with the consequence of that. As an evildoer, or as even a busybody in other men's matters, man. Just know if let's say, you know, you're in a situation where someone asks you for help, if it's then getting too prolonged and obviously it starts to hinder you in the truth, then of course the thing is you're not supposed to be suffering for that man anyways, man. He's got to handle that, his matters. That's the point of 1 Peter 4 verse 15. So of course that's really another thing that bro's got to keep in mind, the fact that, you know, when we're going through our daily lives, that let's say, you know, when maybe we're in the spirit where we want to help someone, we also got to consider this precept here, so that we don't have to suffer vainly for another man who isn't even in the truth, man, who's not even part of the brotherhood. So that's the key point right there. And I was going to get Zechariah. Actually, before I get Zechariah, let me get Genesis 22, because also Abraham got trialed of his fear in Yahweh Shem Yahushua. So let me get that up as well. Genesis 22, 6 to 13. Abraham took the wood of the burnt offering. This is Genesis 22 verse 6. Wait, hold up. Yeah, 6 to 13. And Genesis 22 verse 6. And Abraham took the wood of the burnt offering and laid it upon Isaac his son, and he took the fire in his hand and the knife, and they went both of them together. And Isaac spake unto Abraham his father, and said, My father. He said, Here am I, my son. And he said, Behold the fire and the wood, but where is the lamb for the burnt offering? So Isaac was asking, where's the lamb that we're going to use for sacrifice unto Yahweh? So in verse 8, and Abraham said, My son, God the Most High will provide himself a lamb for a burnt offering. So they went both of them together. And they came to the place where which the Most High had told him of. And Abraham built an altar there, and laid the wood in order, and bound Isaac his son, and laid him on the altar upon the wood. So of course at that point, you know, it's pretty clear that, you know, Abraham was about to sacrifice Isaac. But you know, we're reading on. Verse 10, and Abraham stretched forth his hand and took the knife to slay his son. I'm just doing the gesture, like imagine him, either holding a knife and about to slay his son, or whatever way he was going to do it. Probably like this. Well, that don't even mind anyways, but the point is, he took a knife and then he was ready to slay his son. So verse 10, and Abraham stretched forth his hand and then he took the knife to slay his son. Verse 11, and the angel of the Lord, Yahweh, called unto him out of heaven, and said, Abraham, Abraham. And he said, Here am I. And he said, Lay not thine hand upon the lad. So that was referring to Isaac. For those who can receive it, is also Yahweh in the reincarnation. So obviously that's a deep meat for some people. And he said, Lay not thine hand upon the lad, neither because lay not thine hand upon the lad, which was again your Isaac. And of course the fact that Isaac was also the lamb to be sacrificed, unto Yahweh, which Yahweh used Isaac as a test for Abraham, to see if Abraham feared him. It's the same way Yahweh still had to fulfill his role as the sacrificial lamb for the whole of Israel in the time where he actually lived as Yahweh. So let's see verse 22. Yeah, verse 22. So Genesis 22 verse 12. And he said, Lay not thine hand upon the lad, neither do thou anything unto him, for now I know that thou fearest the Most High, seeing thou hast not withheld thy son, thine only son, from me. So of course, because of the fact that Abraham didn't withhold Isaac, his only son, from the Most High, he knew that he was a trustworthy man, and he was proven successfully. Verse 13, and Abraham lifted up his eyes and looked, and behold, him a ram, and caught in the thicket by his horns. And Abraham went and took the ram and offered him up for a burnt offering in the stead of his son. So, he took the ram, and then that's what he used to then replace, Isaac as a sacrifice. So, that's really the point, man. And really, the point of this video is that we're getting prepared with these trials to get stronger, man. To test our fear and faith in Yahweh Shem Yahushai. Going back to Zechariah 13 verse 9 about getting refined as gold. But before this thing stops me, I'm just going to close out there, man, because the point is pretty much proven.